Welcome into TWMP Daily. I'm Scott Faughn, fresh off a very fun night of a roast, and we are joined by a couple of folks that joined us last night. Senator Joe Nicola, thank you, from Eastern Jackson County, not Kansas City, correct?
That's correct.
I've been set straight by some of your predecessors that is Eastern Jackson County. That is not Kansas City.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
And Jody Woodhelm, Blair Oaks.
Yeah.
Street neighbor.
Go Falcons.
Thanks for making yes.
That's right.
It's that time of year again.
It is.
Thanks so much for making the time, and thank you all for joining us last night.
Absolutely.
Okay, it was a great time, and anybody I hope will consider giving a donation to Safe Passages, the charity Senator O'Laughlin selected, because she did get a good. We had some fun, but the what she's so great. Finding someone to roast is a little tough because some people, I've learned this as we've done these now 6 times. Not everybody can take jokes about themselves.
Oh, I'm sure.
And maybe even it's on steroids because you're in front of people, you're on a stage, and you have to. But Cindy is very real, and her reactions. I think she had fun with it.
Yeah, she did.
And I think that made it easier for everybody else.
Yep. And she was very funny at the end.
Oh man. Oh gosh.
She's a hoot anyway.
I mean, she was throwing elbows at people who weren't even there. Yeah. It was great. And you know, it is nice when you have someone who you can give a little grief to and can give it back, and it's not a personal thing. You know, I actually admire her a great deal, and I mean that. But of course, I give her grief about these PQs, and she's learned to just make fun of me for any number of things, which are all valid. And it is nice to have somebody that's confident in themselves where you can disagree or joke around with, and it's not some sensitive thing because it's funny.
And don't take it personal.
Yeah. People in your situations get fired all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you get, especially with the social media age, no matter what you do, there's going to be 20 people that are loud, angry, whatever you do. And it's kind of, and it surprises me sometimes. I see people that get in office and they're so sensitive. And I'm like, you know, it's almost bizarre that you're in this line of work if you're this sensitive. I mean,
Exactly.
It's kind of, conflict is bred in the system.
Yeah. I liked your comment about getting rid of pastors, too, by the way.
Well, I mean, the governor has decided to get rid of reverends. Luckily for you, he started with Cleaver, but he's got like a third of the House members. Yeah, I mean, I look around. The Grim Reaper Keogh will be coming for your career next. But tell me, the biggest news of the day, obviously. I want to talk, obviously, when I think of you, I think of property taxes. But I would like to start off with the congressional map. It is a map... you know, Emmanuel Cleaver, different political party from you. But my assumption is if you found a Democrat, you could say, okay, we disagree on some things very fundamentally, and I know there's some, especially the issue of abortion is very close to your heart, and he's on the other side of that. But I do think as a person, I've always been a Republican. I mean, I respect Emmanuel Cleaver. He's a good man. And I would think, you know, if you guys would have 2 years ago said we're getting rid of Cori Bush, I think people would have been like, yeah, probably that's an embarrassment. I mean, that's good for the state. It's a little different in Kansas. Have you heard some folks from maybe the business community that have been like, you know, Cleaver does a lot for the community?
I haven't, to be quite honest.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why I love asking these questions.
Yep.
Okay, break it down for me because they're taking independence and bringing it here to Jeff City, right?
Yeah, my whole Senate district's going to be.
Your entire, not just your Senate district, your whole drive to work is pretty much the new district.
It's all going to be in
the
the
district.
district.
If you go down 50.
That's exactly right. Yep.
So let me just ask the first question. I mean, this is going to happen, right?
Looks that way.
You going to vote for this?
We'll see.
I love that. Will you be sharing your thoughts on the floor on Friday?
Good possibility.
I love this. I had a feeling that everybody thought this was a fait accompli. And the Missouri Senate has a way of taking confident men's plans and humbling them. And I had a feeling there'd be some twists in this. But let me break it down. You'll probably have a Republican member, right, of Congress?
Probably, yeah.
While Trump's there. You're the person, this is why I was glad I saw you last night. I want to have you on. When I look at that map and I look at those numbers, this district is a red district, but reddish.
That's exactly right.
And the thing I've noticed when I just looking at the map, I'm not smart enough to do all the numbers and things that I hear people doing.
Yeah.
When I think of independents, I think Ronnie DePasco, Victor Callahan, longtime Democrats, John Rizzo. You're the first Republican in
120 years.
Yeah. And I view independents as Trump supporters, maybe more than Republicans. They've always been pro-life and pretty pro-gun for a suburban community.
Very pro-gun, yeah.
But not but Democrats.
Yeah.
And I wonder, when Trump is gone, is independence still Republican?
That's a great question.
I mean, my
Scott.
assumption is
Yeah.
when a senator gets elected, very seldom they lose. You've been doing your town hall stuff. I don't think it'll be reflected in your reelection. But if you had to run for the first time in 2012 before Trump, I don't know that you could have won that.
No, that would have been very, very tough.
Now, the question will be 2 years after Trump's gone. I mean, to me, as long as Trump's on your TV every night, people could get mad about this and protest and all that. Donald Trump is exquisitely popular in this state. Up there on the level of FDR and Lincoln. And they didn't let the Democrats vote in 1864. I mean, Trump is just, period, very beloved in this state. And hated, but generally beloved.
Right.
And it's reflected in places like where I'm from in the Boot Heel, where they were voting Republican, but then when Trump came, it went from like 75 to 90 in South County, St. Louis, Jeff County, and Eastern Jackson County.
Yeah.
What is it going to be like for a person in Congress in running an independence when Trump is gone?
I think it's going to be tough. I really do, and that's one of my concerns about this new map. You know, Trump won by 4% in Eastern Jackson County. I won by 6% in my district, and I think part of it is because I did get some Democrat votes.
And yours is more Democrat than Lee Summit, right?
Oh yeah.
I've always thought yours would have been
yeah.
more of a swing district than
Oh,
the
definitely,
southern one.
definitely.
Well, you've run on both, so you would know.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk those streets.
Uh-huh.
I just when I looked at the map at first, there's a lot of ways you could have went about this, right? But when I looked at the map, I thought they are really banking on independents staying Republican, and I think probably like a lot of folks, like you can get sick of Trump, right? It just you can wear you out with the drama.
Yeah.
But then you look at the people that are out to put him in prison or whatever. You're like, they're worse. They're just worse.
Yeah.
Maybe that's maybe that's the way independence stays Republican is. The Democrats just. I watched the folks sleeping in the Capitol this weekend, and you know it's got to be tough, right? You work so hard to get elected, you get elected, and you realize, okay, we can't. We just show up here and get beat multiple times
can't do
every day.
anything.
It's got to be. I watched when I actually got to see a really unique thing. I kind of came up here the first time with a guy named Mark Richardson, and he was in the minority. Now it was like 85, 77, or, it was tight, but you're in the minority, you know it. They treat you like it. And when it's tighter, they're even meaner because they have to be to keep the trains running on time. I just wonder, as we lurch forward with this map, I think anybody wins while Trump is on TV every night, right?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And I think Trump will stay on TV. Can you imagine whoever the nominee is trying to get attention and Trump being like, no, you're
right.
my guy. I'm gonna get you elected. You just shut up.
Uh-huh.
I think that'll work in that district. I don't know if it worked in the country, but in Missouri, I think Trump saying, this is my dude, just do this. I think they will.
Yeah.
But the Democrats at some point, and by the Democrats, I'm lumping in CNN, ABC, NBC, all the. They'll just at some point you have to admit you're beat, right? Bob
You would
Gibson.
think.
If I'm the Democrats, I can have a meeting and I call in the CNN people and I call in all the NBC people and say, we can't beat the guy, and also we can't literally beat him because he's not running again. Why don't we fight Republican brand X instead of Trump? Just say tip your hat to say, hey, great job, buddy, you did it. You beat us. Now we're looking forward to you being gone. And they'll quit putting him on TV every night when he's not president. I mean, even Trump will go away to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah, he will.
And I think that's a very bad thing for Republicans and independents, isn't it?
I'm not completely convinced about that, Scott. I think he did help make a difference. I think the people really are looking for somebody that's not necessarily a party person that will just help the people fight for their liberty, their freedom. When I ran, I chose all nonpartisan, issues. I helped people with their property taxes. I had forums. I had 16 different forums. I've had 18 now.
And maybe this is because I kind of stick here between Patty Malone's and the Cole County Courthouse. Is that a nonpartisan issue? Because there's some people who are going to hear you say that, and they're going to think, well, cutting taxes is a Republican issue.
No, because we're saving people's homes.
Is it because they've gotten so out of bounds?
Yeah, in Jackson County for sure.
But also, these are the same people that are complaining that voted for all these tax increases.
Well, they didn't vote for all of them. I mean, they voted for the levy, so they didn't vote for all their property taxes. In Jackson County, assessments have just gone crazy. And this year, they've hit commercial property just as bad as they hit residential 2 years ago.
So
now we're going to be losing some small businesses.
I have listened to a lot of your floor speeches, and the question I have, when you do what I do for a living, when you hear someone talking, like, well, I wonder about this and this.
Yeah.
Is it a statutory problem with the way properties are valued, or is it the assessors just went crazy?
I think it's both. Our assessor went crazy.
Yeah.
And because we had the only assessor in the state that was appointed. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but we did have a petition to recall our executive. That'll be on the ballot September 30th.
They going to pass?
It's a good question. I'm not convinced. I hope it does, but
I
they'll be able to fire the assessor because they're not elected.
I thought there was it was telling that Frank White might be in trouble that he said he's not running again.
Yeah.
I don't know that he says that if his internal polls show him doing well.
Right.
I think that to me was a sign that he's, wanting a little sympathy. Mm-hmm. And I thought him not running again was a sign that he thinks he might be in trouble.
Yeah. I think he does believe that. And there's a lot of momentum on the ground. I was just at 2 different fairs over the last 2 weekends. The Republican booth is handing out recall Frank White signs like they're hotcakes. We have Democrats coming over to get them. I mean, people are mad. They're really upset about the property taxes. And it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, liberal, libertarian, it doesn't matter, Republican. And that's what I want to help people.
They really went too far.
Yeah, and I want to help people preserve their homes. And I think that's one of the things that benefited me in that district. And I held, the
Well, I remember when I stopped you and you were on your Harley, you were going to one of your property tax things to get people signed up.
Yep.
It obviously worked.
Yeah.
I tell you, the St. Louis County people, they have an elected assessor, and you just feel so sorry for those St. Louis people. They pretty much just rent their little pittance of a place from the government.
Yeah.
I mean, I found there's 2 types of assessors in my time. There's ones that work for the taxpayers and ones that work for the school districts. And the school district ones, boy, they don't care. I got an idea for you. Mm-hmm. What might help. In a lot of these counties, assessors get money. They get computers from the school district. They get all sorts of money. So the assessor goes and rakes in this hall, and the school district sends it back in all kinds of ways. Do you know how this is what now? We don't fact check here on TWMP Daily, but what I think happened over in Jackson County was Gail McCain Beatty, very nice person, was a
state rep,
minority leader here, nice lady. I don't know what her qualifications were to be an assessor. I don't know what anybody's qualifications would be, but probably real estate appraisal, and I don't know. Maybe Gail did that, I don't know. They hired a consultant, but they did not pay for the consultant. The consultant was paid for by the school district. And it was, are property taxes too high or too low? We'll take one wild guess what the school district said.
Exactly.
They said they're way, way too low. And so they've embarked on these tax raises, and that's really where I think everybody hates property taxes. I mean, this building is extremely, extremely taxed, like crazy. Mm-hmm. But you hear a howl from the place. And that howl has been coming really since Gail went there, and it's specifically been coming since that study came back. And I think that has been the initial justification. And to me, why, you get studies handed to you all the time. Mm-hmm. I get studies handed to me all the time. I think they're all worthless. I mean, if the study tells me what you want to think, no, really, I can't imagine. And I think there is a problem with the school district funding the people, raking in the money that they spend.
Well, that's a huge problem if that's happening, absolutely.
Oh, that's happening.
Because the property taxes, that's the school districts are a driver. That's the driver of the property tax.
They give them, I know of one car, but mostly it's software. So they can update. I have no doubt the school is giving them money so they can get more taxes out of people. Uh-huh. And they're not giving it for less, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, it probably starts off something innocent. We have some extra computers, you need them. But as Rob Schaff would say, there's an influence there.
Sure.
And that doesn't stop.
Yeah, absolutely. But the number one thing we have to do when we're talking about property taxes is not how we're going to fund local government. It's how are we going to save people's homes. Let's start with that as a priority, and then we'll figure out how to fund local government. Because people are losing their homes.
What's the right tax rate?
CPI, inflation.
Explain that to
All
me.
of us should be able to live.
Explain CPI to me, though.
Sure. So it's just an inflation, metric. The school districts are really required by Hancock, which is CPI, or 5%, whichever is lower. Mm-hmm. That's what my bill was. So if we can keep everybody in an inflation rate, then the homes, our taxes, would only go up by inflation or 5%, whichever is lower. We should be able to live with that. But we've got so many, especially in my district, we have so many elderly on fixed incomes, they can't sustain these increases and they're losing their homes.
Yeah.
This is criminal. It's not American. If we lose our homes and we lose our property rights, we lose our liberty. Because property rights are the key to our liberty.
Give me, if you can, and if this is too technical, just say, it's too much. Give me a nice single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, nice neighborhood, nice school district, somewhere in Independence. What kind of property tax are you looking at there?
In Independence, I'm not really sure. I live in Grain Valley, so I'll just use my home since I know the figures. My home, I think, is being assessed around $400,000 now. We didn't build it for that, but I've been there almost 20 years, and we're paying $5,000 a year in taxes. So
too high, too low?
Oh, it's too high. I mean, we think we have equity. We're building equity in our homes. We're not building equity. It's being sapped from us from property taxes and the interest that we pay. I've lived in my home next year for 20 years. If I pay $5,000 a year, that's $100,000.
Yeah.
Right out of my equity, right? So we have to preserve people's homes. These people are losing. We had an officer shot.
Give me what the right amount would be on your house. If you're paying $5,000 a year now, what's a fair amount?
Well, I think we need to really take a look at, or is it even right that we tax unrealized gains? That we're being taxed on money that I don't have?
Yeah, that you might have.
I might have, could have, possibly could have.
You lived in that house for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You could have built that house in a great upstate neighborhood, paid the high taxes, then it could go down, but the taxes don't change.
No, exactly.
I mean, I don't ever hear anybody's going
down. No, they don't go down. Yeah, they keep going up.
I mean, and truthfully, just if you look at property in Missouri, over 30 years, not very many neighborhoods stay nice. Now you're out in Grain Valley, you get spread out a little different. But I mean, how many neighborhoods are nice 30 years later?
Right, exactly.
They start turning into rental houses if you don't have HOAs and stuff, but the property taxes don't go down.
No, exactly.
All right, well, give me a figure you think would be right.
On my house?
Yeah. What figure would you be like, this sucks, but okay?
I don't know if I can give you a figure on that. I think what's really fair is inflation, an inflation rate. And that everybody should be able to stay. The police, the fire, the libraries, the schools.
Or raise the levy. Put it on the ballot and raise the levy. Right?
And let the people vote.
Yeah.
If they want their taxes raised and the schools need it or the fire departments need it, let them vote for it.
Here's what I always see though. It is not just a suburban problem, but that's where it really started. And every tax increase for the school, they'd vote for. Every tax increase for everything they'd vote for. Then they complain, they eat their bill, and it's, oh my God. But I mean, whether they'd always say they personally didn't. I don't even know how people remember how they voted 10 years ago. Right. I'm always skeptical of that. But you look at the cumulative effect, you're like, oh my God, Jeff City, fix it. Well, maybe some of these solutions are back in Jackson County.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather not be working on this issue here at a state level. It should be worked out in the county. But when we have a rogue county like we do in Jackson County, and the court has already told them to roll it back to a 15% increase, and the state tax commission has told them twice, and they just stick their nose up at them. What are we doing with the people?
What do you do in that situation? I've heard you say this. I think I heard you on an interview once explain this. Where does it stand now? So the tax commission says, don't do this. Don't do this. The courts say don't do this. They say, we're going to do this. What happens?
Well, there's two lawsuits. We're supposed to find out about one of them. One of them is, and it looks favorable, that we'll probably win, and then they'll be forced to roll it back. And some of the little tricks they've been doing isn't really helping people. They said they will roll them back to 15% 2 years ago, but then all they did is jacked up the commercial. We've got commercial rates now that are going through the roof. We're going to have small businesses go out of business. I've been telling people, what if we still had Prop A and these high taxes? It would decimate small businesses. I owned a small business. I couldn't sustain the Prop A, paying for sick leave, much less having a quadruple property tax increase. It's just horrible.
All right, we'll ask you about Prop A, but first one, tomorrow, 9 a.m., we're going to have Chuck Hatfield. Speaking of lawsuits, Chuck Hatfield will be in here. We'll talk a little, we'll get a legal education from Chuck, who I guess he can order the bigger pool. He can go Olympic size now when you guys pass the map on Friday. He's probably waiting to call the guy and say, okay, can you break ground, come in.
That's right. Chuck, go a little deeper, a little longer.
Full Michael Phelps. Chuck will be here tomorrow, talk a little election law. Then Sunday, this week in Missouri politics, the last interview before we headed off to the FBI, Andrew Bailey joins us. Sunday for this week in Missouri Politics. I want to thank our sponsors. Always got to thank the Courtyard by Marriott. When you bring the family in, you got to take them to the Courtyard, right? I mean, it's a subtle diss if you don't, right? And they're going to catch up. Also, Mo Can Trade, 100% Missouri-grown plant-based medicine here. And then, obviously, we love the folks in the great Northwest, just a little north from you, with United Fiber, some of the best rural broadband in the state. Let's talk Prop A. It felt like there was some deals being offered at the end of session,
Did it?
Right? I mean, they were at least talking.
Yeah.
You guys ended session on Wednesday. It feels like, I guess my first question is, why end on Wednesday? Why not keep talking?
I'm not in leadership and didn't make those decisions.
You vote for the PQ?
I did not put my name on a PQ sheet. I did vote to eliminate.
Like the abortion
Okay.
piece, everybody knew, right? That's what
Yeah.
you have to do.
Yeah.
That's just what was going to, there was no way around what was going to happen. That was it. But I thought maybe there's still some room to haggle. Here's my thing. This is my my Gary Wheeler, no one cares, work hard at Missouri Soybean Association, yet they have knowledge. The folks at Jobs for Justice, who I guess are going to join everybody here tomorrow to have a big protest. I've never seen a protest do anything in Jeff City except annoy people.
Yeah.
Or it makes people more proud of what they're doing and they get more attention. But they're going to come protest. That will be totally ineffective and no one will care. What they will do, though, is they're going to put this thing back on the ballot. Now, my assumption is you've had all these business people. You got to do. You save. You got to do this. And so you did. And you brought a reprieve from so many businesses. As a small business owner, I say, sure, appreciate you. Don't need the government running my business. But they're going to put this back on the ballot next year.
Yeah.
In the Constitution. Probably more egregious. And who's going to be there to stop it?
Yeah. Great question.
Because I've watched this
Yeah.
I've seen this movie many times.
Bet you
they
have.
run to you, fix it. And then when it's time to beat the thing, their hands are in their pockets. I hope that's not the case. I mean, I full disclosure, I will suffer with some screwy stuff like this. But I wonder if you won't look back on election night and think we should have took the deal. The deal for the statute, it will definitely be much better than what's on the ballot. And I hope you can beat it. I mean, I'll write a check. I'm not trying to hide the ball here. This was maybe the worst public policy I've seen in 20 years. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I just wonder if you won't regret not taking the deal because I just don't see how you stop it.
Well, what was the deal?
I think they were cutting it back to where only very large businesses had to do this. I think they were exempted. Now, I obviously was not in there also, but I did talk to most of the people that were in there, and there was still discussions. I think there was some frustration because it was alleged that some of the senators were calling the Washington, D.C. folks that funded this thing to talk to them. And something, and some folks will deny that, but my gut tells me there's some truth somewhere in there. There's a little smoke there.
Yeah.
But maybe not quite as much as folks say.
Yeah.
And then the others say they just got tired of negotiating, which is like, well, that's kind of what you're paid to do, right?
Right, that's right.
You work that week 5 days. The only time you're going to work 5 days, you might as well stay at work, I always thought.
But I wasn't involved in any of those negotiations. Not a one.
To me, well, there'll be a time as you become a more senior senator, you will be. What do you think about now that you've done this for a year? Why not go home, get some sleep, come back Thursday, and see if you can figure a way out? I don't know what was the harm in that. I understand you don't want to run it to Friday because you can have Parliament, things could happen. But to me, maybe you go home Wednesday night and sleep it and come back rested. And you're going to have to do a PQ on abortion. I think that was just baked in from the minute Amendment 3 passed. But maybe you take another day.
Yeah.
Come back. So
if I was privy to all of those, depends. I wasn't, so I don't know how I would have made a decision. So.
And they had talked about this 100 times throughout session. I get that. But, maybe one time to avoid that. So they're going to do IP reform. What do you think of IP reform?
Not much. I agree. We need IP reform.
I agree. Too easy to change the Constitution.
Do we need this? Do we need this? That what the House just passed? We'll see.
Well, this would be a refreshing thing. These special sessions, I know there's a per diem or something, and I get that. But if it's an important enough thing to have a special session, there's a legislative process. And I've watched this happen so many times. The legislative leaders get so tied up in only being here a few days. And part of that is being good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah.
But in reality, the legislative process is the House will pass something, send it to the Senate. The Senate can change it. Then you go to conference, and then there is a process here.
Right.
There's no gun to anyone's head. Mm-hmm. That is a figurative thing. These special sessions last 90 days, I think. And I've watched the China Hub one go damn near 90 days before they finally quit. You don't have to just take their thing. I am not a legal scholar, but I do know some folks I do respect in the judiciary and in the legal world. They think this won't withhold muster because it's your congressional district could vote for something, mine not. They could squirrel it away. And I'm not an expert, but there's ways you could do this by just raising the percentage that seems to be on much better legal footing. Why was the decision made to go this route?
Another great question that I wasn't involved in. I had some discussions today. I haven't been here very long, right? But I've paid a little bit of attention to the IP reform and the debates that have been going on the last couple of years. Where did this one come from? Where did this exact bill come from? Because I hadn't heard about it before, and all of a sudden it's given to us in a special session. But that's not what the special session was really called for. It was called for the maps.
Yeah.
And then this is just.
I felt a little sorry for Representative Deaton. He was up there and he was talking about how this is more compact. And I'm like, I really think it'd be better to just say, yeah, Donald Trump told us to do this. And he could take a big say, I want to do this before, but no, this wasn't going to happen until he told us to do this. This map was drawn in Washington. It is for the National Republican Party to have another member of Congress to hold it. And I'm going to do this for that reason. And then if you think this is bad, you should tell all my constituents, and they will vote me out. They will. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to, I'm not saying they're lying because it's almost tongue in cheek, right? Yeah. I don't think anybody takes it seriously. It's not a deceptive lie, but it is a little less than truthful to pretend, one, that this map was drawn in Missouri, to two, pretend this has any value to the citizens of this state except for the National Republican Party, exactly. Or three, that anybody was ever going to do this until Trump told them to. Those are just three things that I think you look silly denying.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so I've watched his House members, and they're like, well, it does this and this and this. I'm like, no, okay, great, good. But, none of that's real.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And I'll give you a prediction. I don't think one person in this state really cares. If you know what a congressional map redistricting process is, you know who you're voting for, you're going to vote it by 8 a.m. on Election Day, and you know exactly what you're voting for. Mm-hmm. I don't think any regular person gives a damn. I think you can vote however you want on this, and there'll be no ramifications whatsoever.
You do?
I don't think there'll be one ramification.
Really?
I think it is truly something. If you think it's right, do it. If not, I don't think there'll be any political pushback because I don't think any regular people give a damn. Do you? You've been hearing from folks.
I do. I think a lot of people do. Yeah.
Do you think a lot of people do in your area?
I do, because I think the people in Kansas City are feeling disenfranchised.
We are being disenfranchised. Yeah. That's probably why they feel that way.
That's exactly right.
You're going to run for Congress? You can fix that.
We'll see. Let me ask you.
Why would you not?
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you think the state should take directions from a president?
Hell no. Not even one I voted for 3 times.
Yeah.
Not even one. I was pro-Trump. Me and David Stillman were actually pro-Trump because back home, people would spray paint car hoods, they vote Trump or die. When he said Jeb Bush is a wuss, I'm like, he kind of is. Then he said, look at that crazy Rand Paul. I'm like, he does look crazy. Uh-huh. I like Trump. Back when they were rigging caucuses for Ted Cruz, I liked Trump. But no, hell no.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So the first, I've just figured this out, right? I was just told this. So the first answer to possibly running for Congress is to tell everybody you're not. Is that true, Scott?
I think that Donald Trump used to be.
Used to be.
I think Donald Trump's changed things.
Until this morning.
I think Donald Trump has changed. I think he's changed culture. I think people in the social media age had kind of begun to take hold. People just want you to be real.
Yeah.
I think that's why you're a good
that.
politician.
Yep.
You're good at this because you're kind of you, right? Mm-hmm. I've met you in different forms, and even as a senator, you change a little, right? But you're kind of you. Mm-hmm. And I think people like that. I think that is.
I agree.
I think we went through an age, the George W. Bush compassionate conservative. I don't think, and obviously Bill Clinton was phony. I think people had phoniness, and Barack Obama was so charismatic it came off phony. Like even if he wasn't phony, no one that I know is that slick, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a little. And now Trump, there's nothing phony about Trump.
No.
If you were putting on airs, you wouldn't put those on.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, I think real. And why wouldn't you run? You're in the middle of your term. The district flows right through your area.
It'd be good, wouldn't it?
You think you'd like it?
No.
I don't think you'd like it either.
I didn't want to come to Jeff City. Why would I want to go to
You like
DC?
doing this? Looks like you enjoy this.
I actually do.
Yeah. I don't know that
actually
you
do.
like. The life of a member of Congress is not that great.
Yeah.
Like Jason Smith has the situation, always good or bad. He doesn't have a family he has to come back to all the time. I mean, he has a family, but not a wife and kids.
Right.
And that allows him to, I think, be able to excel more.
Yeah. That'd be much easier.
And Ray, their kids are out. Ray's now retired. He can kind of go out and see Ann some, and I think that makes it easier for them. But boy, I tell you, Blaine Luke tomorrow, I tell you, that Southwest flight, and if you don't, and when you're in the minority, no one cares. If you don't catch the flight, you're there to the Saturdays. Might as well just stay till Monday because you're, it is a rough life. Now, you're flying right in Kansas City, a little easier, but still, there's lots of members of Congress that get burnt out because you're just going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, Offer seems to like it. He seems to enjoy it, but again, a little older. I think Mark likes it.
You think Mark's older than me?
Yes. Is he?
That's probably because of the way I act, right? You think I'm younger. Actually, Mark and I are the same age.
Well, I just assumed Mark had some TV stuff to make himself. Yeah. I thought maybe Mark's older. Mark looks good for his age because maybe there's a TV. I need to get on that TV thing. I need to figure that out. Casey would appreciate that. Why wouldn't you run for Congress? If you don't like it, you don't get to do it.
Not interested. Not interested in going to D.C. And
okay, but I'll make the case why you should. I'll give you.
Why I should?
Yeah.
Or shouldn't?
You're in the middle of your term, which means you can raise money. There's the people that will give you money. It'll be federal money, so it can't be spent state anyway. That'll give you money because you're in the middle of your term. You're going to be a senator for 6 more years if you lose. Probably they give you money hoping you lose. You know what I mean? Because it works better for them if you come back and.
Now maybe that might work. What do you think?
The lobbyist gives you money, and they're like, well, okay, if he goes to Congress, it really didn't help me. But if he knows I was with him, then so you have opportunities to raise money. The district goes right through your backyard. I would assume some of the people over in the Kansas, there's few Republicans, I assume, even west of you. They'd rather have somebody from Independence than somebody from Marshall or Warrensburg or Jeff City. Yeah. You have a very good strain. It starts to get Catholic over in central Missouri, but you have a very good evangelical base of people in Warrensburg and Sedalia.
Yeah.
My assumption is Denny Hoskins, might be sympathetic and help in Warrensburg. Good network of people. Over here, I mean, the truth is there is not a standout candidate for Congress. Some folks thought Jake Vogel might run at one time. He's running for Senate. So that's why that would be the case of how you could win and why, and if you don't win, go back and be a senator.
Would you be willing to start the campaign off? Just,
Yeah, I'll pitch in the first. I can contribute here. I think you should kick the tires. I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, if you look at, is John Patterson in the new fifth? I would think he'd be a little bit lower, right?
Yeah, I think I don't know exactly where he lives in it, but I think he is.
He lives over there, kind of by Lakewood, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it does.
It's in the Lakewood area.
Doesn't it swoop up Lee Summit?
Oh, does it?
I'd have to look at the map again. It might just be independent. I know it's all my Senate district, so Grain Valley.
Well, tell me who you think of it. I mean, Curtis Gregory's been mentioned. He's been very coy about it. I yes, the first thing you do to run for Congress, say you're not running for Congress. I don't know that. I think Curtis has a real with his daughter and the age she is. I think if this was 4 years from now, I think he'd already be, getting the Gregory for Congress stuff printed. I don't. I think it's. He may run, and I suspect he does. But I think it's truly it's not as easy of a decision for him because of the age of his daughter.
Yeah, I could see that.
Then I don't know. I mean, Denny's pretty much been adamant he's not running because I think Denny saw the life. I mean, he knows it's easier for Bob. Bob lands at Lambert, shoots down 70, and goes home. Ain't no direct flight to Warrensburg, right?
Right.
Unless you're coming to teach at the UCM airport.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be several that'll jump in as soon as this is over, but I don't know.
I have to think, like, if you don't run, if Patterson doesn't run, some rich person in Kansas City is going to be watching Fox News this afternoon and think, you know what, I could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually kind of, you get one come out of the woodwork. It may be a Jeff City. I mean, there is, if you think about it, there is nobody really that well positioned out of Jeff City to do this.
Is that right?
I mean, who would it be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it.
I don't know.
Vogel, the Army Ranger, Zab was a state senator, but he's pretty well deep into a state Senate run. He would have been the one I think folks would have initially thought would be that guy. I don't get the sense Bernskatter wants to go to Congress. Do you? I just don't
that
get the
sense doesn't. No,
I get the feeling Bernskatter's not going to be real unhappy next May.
Yeah, right.
When he's done his time. I mean, he's 16 full years, 16 rough years, a lot of crazy stuff he's seen. I get a sense that Mike Bernskatter wants to finish strong, but I think he'll be ready.
Yeah.
When term limit, some of them, the marbles stand there grabbing, trying to stay in. I don't think that'll be Mike Bernskatter. I think him and his wife, they're going to be very happy. It's like Blaine Luetkemeyer. I don't think Blaine regrets not running.
Yeah.
Though I don't think he wanted Bob to win. I don't believe that. But I think I think Blaine, Bob Bonder's been a very good congressman for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to me, if you're going to be in Congress, bring home money. None of the rest of the stuff they do matters. It's really all, I think, worthless.
Exactly.
But bringing home the money, that's big. And Bob has been very good at that. We're going to hate to lose him. I would have preferred we kept him. And when he got elected, I thought, Bob will go up there and do a bunch of Facebook. And no, I mean, he does that stuff.
Yeah, right.
But he also goes and kicks that door in and brings that money home. I mean, he is for a first-term congressman, 10 on 10.
Yeah.
The folks up in Pike County, they're lucky. They're getting someone that actually cares about their constituents. There's a lot of Republican members of Congress from this state who should wear ski masks to work. They don't do anything for their district. Nothing.
Yeah.
They go up there and whine and get on Twitter or something, but they don't bring home a dime. Totally worthless. I mean, give me Sam Graves and Bob Bonder. That's who actually, when you look back on this, all the votes you've taken 2 years later, right?
Yeah.
But you lower people's property tax, that's real. So how are you going to do it?
How am I going to lower
Are you ticked off about how session ended? Because if I was you, I'd be ticked off.
Oh, I'm just so happy. That,
I'd be ready to level up some scores.
You would?
Yeah. Damn right.
We'll see.
I mean, because tell me, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
and if it's like too fresh or raw, when it went down the way it went down, I mean, obviously everybody in the room was looking at you. It looked like you were ticked.
Oh, I was.
You were going to grit your teeth and not sell it, but it looked like a person that was angry and was like, okay, I get it. It felt like I watched this happen to Jill Carter once. She looked up for a roll call vote, and yet, you needed the senator standing, and there were two. And I was sitting there, and I watched at that moment. It was like anger, a little flush in the face, and then it was like, okay, this is how this works. Now, I don't know she felt that way, but as a person who's watched a lot of Missouri Senate, watching her look up for the roll call vote, look around at the desk of the people that she thought who she had carried water for and thought would at least stand up for this, and they're nowhere to be found. And I don't think that was a mistake. I think that was very calculated.
Yeah.
I watched Jill go mad and then just be like, I get what's going on here. I felt like watching you that day. That happened. You at least kind of knew this was happening, right? You got wind of this. That happened to Jill in real time.
Yeah.
You got to see her react to this. I think she's probably fairly saying betrayal on some level. But I watched you come out. Clearly you knew it wasn't. Nobody publicly got to see your reaction in real time. But it looked like you were mad. But it was like, okay, I get what's going on here. Is that what happened?
Oh, I get what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like it didn't have to be done like that.
Oh, it certainly didn't have to be done like that.
Even if it was going to end like that, it didn't have to be. You could have been treated a little better on how that plane landed.
Sure.
Yeah. That was what
I was kept out of all the negotiations the entire day on property taxes. I found out about it when I walked on the floor. What was going to happen?
Do you even think that now this is?
And if you remember, Scott, the two Democrats killed my amendment to the stadium bill. Then I had a second amendment to freeze property taxes for Jackson County for 4 years. That's all it was. The two Democrats stood up to filibuster, then they sat down. I was shocked. I'm like, they're going to let this come to a vote. The voice vote was a no. So I called for a standing division. Senator Mike Moon stood. We got it. Where's all the senators? They didn't even come back when they were called. We didn't even have a quorum. One senator votes twice. for it than against it. I lose 10-8.
Well, you could change your vote, right?
It wasn't a
He
change.
voted no.
Well, you voted both times.
Oh yeah. And I lost 10-8. So all 10 Democrats were there and voted against it. 8 Republicans. It was the Republicans that killed my Second Amendment. I'm not going to forget that anytime soon, Scott.
But by the time you went to special session, you kind of knew you had got rogered in end of session, and this was going to be. Did you really think you were going to come out of special session with some tax reform for Jackson County?
I thought it was going to be very, very tough. I thought there was a possibility, but it was the 2 Democrat senators in Jackson County that were my stumbling block, and I didn't think they were going to let it go, and they didn't. But the way it all developed, because the property tax bill that got onto the stadium bill was a property tax. There were two issues. You can get a freeze, a permanent freeze, or the 5% cap or CPI, whichever's higher, because it wasn't my bill. I had nothing to do with that property tax portion of that bill. I was not involved in any of the negotiations whatsoever.
How does that work?
So when I found out that there was a cap, I had an amendment to or not a cap, a freeze. I drew an amendment to freeze Jackson County because they cut out, in that bill, they cut out every county that had a Democrat senator in it, and 2 Republicans decided not to choose either one. So that's why Jackson County wasn't even included in that second bill. So all I did was mirror it, except it wasn't even a permanent freeze. I just did a 4-year freeze for Jackson County. And there was fear that it was going to kill the stadium bill, which I don't care. I didn't vote for it anyway. I care about my people that are losing their homes. All this would have done was would have given us a little period of time to get the elected assessor, if we didn't get recalled on the executive.
Do you think that would really help? Ask the people in St. Louis
No,
County.
it-
Eric Schmidt, actually, it was Eric Schmidt who one of his first bills.
And you're going to get one of my signs up here too, right?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm coming over on the 23rd.
Okay.
So if you don't bring one before that, I'm going to come on the 23rd to your house and get one. Eric Schmidt, one of his first bills he passed, U.S. Senator, was to have an elected assessor in St. Louis County because he had same issues, really spooky, the same almost verbiage you're using right now to explain it. Jake Zimmerman, nice guy, very liberal Democrat. It's only gotten train wreck worse.
I've been telling everybody this is only a small piece of the puzzle. We have to have an elected assessor, but that's not going to fix everything. The other reason I had a 4-year freeze is because we have those 2 lawsuits, and we're waiting to get the judgment on those 2 lawsuits. So I was just going to, let's freeze them. Here's the way I was looking at it, Scott. Our people are bleeding. I got to stop the bleeding. They're losing their homes. We've had dozens and dozens of people losing their homes because of this. We have elderly people that cannot. We have over 46,000 parcels in Jackson County that are in repossession. What if they were collecting taxes on half of them?
So
we have
let me ask you a question.
$4.3 billion of tax abated stuff. The county's out of control, and we've got to do whatever we can to protect people's homes.
If you find somebody who'd be willing, I'd love to come shoot a show at their house.
At whose house?
At somebody who can't afford their property taxes and is having
yeah.
to.
Well, we've been.
Oh, yeah,
visited
we've
a few.
been.
We've been.
If you, obviously it's a very private matter.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
find somebody that would be willing to let us come and interview them, we'll come to their house. I'd rather do it at their house, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah.
Just sit at the kitchen table. Kelton somehow can do computer magic on these cameras. I don't know. But if you have somebody that would be willing, because I mean, obviously it's not being able to afford your home is an emotional thing. I wouldn't ever want to approach anybody. But if you run into somebody, I'd love to.
All right.
So what's it going to take to move you to not as mad, to get you to bring you? What kind of property tax reform are you going to need next session before you're a happy camper?
Yeah, there's a lot of different provisions, and there's a lot of things being thrown out. I mean, our Senate interim committee is going to start tomorrow. I'm on that too, so we'll listen to everybody, see what they have. And state tax commissions has ideas, the assessors have ideas, the collectors have ideas. So we just need. I think right now is the time. We've got the conversation started. Right, I got all those 81 MOUs. I read all of them on the Senate floor, and made the senators aware that this is now not just a Jackson County problem. This is going statewide. And so we were very instrumental in getting this conversation started, and we have to keep it going. But we have to get some real reform. We can't just get a couple little things and play with it and say, "Oh, look what we did." until we get some really reform. And what would make me happy is that we can cap these property taxes, cap them somehow to keep them from inflation. So people know how to budget. The school district will know how to budget. The fire department know how to budget. And if they need more money, they can take it to the voters. But we've got to preserve people's property so they can live in it as long as they want to. They can retire there. They're not under the threat of. I mean, this is America.
Did
We're
the
under the
senior
threat.
property tax freeze do anything for folks?
Yeah, I think it's going to help.
Because that's kind of the thought there is
Yeah.
freeze your taxes, you can live in your home,
Yeah.
Then if you sell to somebody younger, tax them, right?
Yeah, and seniors have been paying taxes their entire life, so yeah, well, they should get a break. Absolutely. But we need not only because my bill, what I was fighting for was just primary residence. It wasn't all residents, nor commercial or agriculture. Well, now we need this all across the board because we're seeing commercial rates getting hit. We got to preserve people's businesses. So we need a cap on all three classes. And the renters, people that rent, were like, well, this isn't going to affect me. I don't care. Yes, it is.
And who's against that?
A lot of Democrats and liberals, because they want to protect local government. You probably heard Senator Patty Lewis in her argument against me that I want to defund local government. This doesn't defund local government. It keeps them within a budget of CPI or inflation.
Yeah.
They're going to get everything they've already been receiving, and they get inflation increases, and then they can go to the voters and ask them for more if they need to. This is such a simple. I had Minority Leader Doug Beck, when I offered this the first time, he told me, he goes, this is the most sensible property tax bill I've ever seen.
Yeah, Doug's a good dude.
Yeah, he is. He's good. He's a friend of mine. I like him.
Flat Doug is a bit of a jerk, but 3D Doug, he's no offense, Flat Doug. All right, so interesting. The PQs are just becoming normal.
It's ridiculous.
The predictions everybody had of the Senate will just get destroyed, I think, are probably coming true. We had some FOMO Senator O'Laughlin last night. I understand where Governor Kehoe was. Most politicians I know, if Donald Trump called and told them to jump, they'd say how high. I don't believe Mike Kehoe wants to do this. I mean, you saw that announcement video. He did it. It looked like a hostage video. It was not. Now I believe he believes in IP reform. It was so funny. Mike Kehoe's not an actor. He is who he is, right? He's a business guy. And when he was talking about we're gonna screw Cleaver, and I'm, my bad, sorry, but he goes, now we're gonna get IP reform done. Whatever you think of it, his eyes light up. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
There's the PQs that come north. One thing that's never been done. They've never PQ'd a Republican. That's never happened. But the majority parties never PQ'd one of their own, including Democrats, but Republicans.
Are you thinking I should try for that? Should I work for that?
I don't think they would. Do you?
I don't know.
Well, because right now it's like, we'll PQ because it's just those Democrats. That doesn't bother me. But now it's like, if I'm sitting there, I'm Jamie Berger, I'm like, okay, I probably will just go along, and this sucks. I don't want to do this, but all right. Ooh, but wait a minute now. That might happen to me one day. What if I'm trying to, hold on. When it hits you personally, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Totally different game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the St. Charles people want to PQ the world. They might be like, whoa, wait a minute. They might PQ tort reform.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how I fund my campaign. Can't have that, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting. So, are you skeptical of the maps and IP reform?
Well, we'll see.
Folks going to be there a while Friday? So they plan to?
I don't know. We'll see. Democrats could just start filibustering right away.
Well, but that's not going to matter. You guys have proven. You'll just,
Not you guys.
I like that. Hey, that's why I want the sign.
Not you guys.
So, give me a prediction. What happens in the special session?
I think it's going to be a mess. I think think.
You think you really leave without that map passing?
No, it's going to pass. They're going to drop PQs and get it passed and go home.
About IP reform?
Same.
Really? I could see a world where they offer the Democrats, just let us do this thing for Trump, and we'll put IP reform aside. I can see that. How do you do IP reform with the abortion question out there still?
Another great question.
I mean, you can't feel like confident you're going to win on the amendment. You mean you could feel like you're going to go after it. I really like what Tom Estes has been out working it. I respect that. That's actually doing work. But you can't feel anything more than 50-50 at best, right?
Right, yeah.
Do you really change IP reform before you get that done? I've always wondered. I mean, Curtis Trent's got that big brain. He had this idea of everything old's under the old system to be repealed.
Yeah, that was my idea as well.
Yeah,
I mentioned
that was, I don't know if that's legal, but it
I
makes
don't
sense
either.
to me.
I don't
you know?
either. Ought to be.
Yeah,
it was
it
passed under
makes
that.
sense.
So, but that I haven't heard that in this discussion. I mean, that's a whole other thing. Like,
So you think IP reform happens too?
Yeah, I do.
Well, it goes to the voters.
I do.
You think voters will vote for
the
that?
voters will
I
see.
don't.
I think the
I think
voters,
Sam Linklater's going to
yeah,
stomp the thing.
I think the voters, if they figure this out, this is an unfair for them system.
Well, it's on some level. I think there should be IP reform. I think it should
Yeah,
be harder to
we
be in
need
the
it.
Constitution.
We definitely need it.
But I think it's a very hard case to make to folks to give up some of their ability to impact the system.
No, exactly.
I think that's a tough case.
Yeah.
I think it takes longer to explain why you should have it reformed than why you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to be on the side that takes the fewest words.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like nobody wants to be in church when the pastor does the fourth closing. No offense. But that was
I
always...
usually do 5, Scott,
Yeah.
just to let you know.
It was. I have a friend go to church with me when I was a kid. In closing, he'd be like, "Oh," I'd be like, "No, that's
Means nothing.
You fell for this. No. They're not even playing the background music yet. This is not happening, man." Senator Nicola, thank you so much. I
Hey,
look forward to
pleasure.
Friday. I think
Pleasure.
it's going to be. I think a lot of folks are going to be looking to see what you do and how you approach things. Senator Moon, maybe you two talking a little bit before this.
He's a good friend of mine. I like Senator Moon.
Is there a better guy? When I think of a happy warrior, I think of Mike Moon.
Yep.
Mike Moon, I have watched him. I had this person. I know. I could tell. I used to be a staff person too, and Joyce looked at her watch, and I could tell we're up out of time. We had a panel, and Senator Moon came on. He wanted to come on, and this other lady was very pro-choice. And I told her, I was like, "Now seriously, don't go on there and be a jerk to Senator Moon, because he's just going to be nice.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be a bigger jerk, and he's just going to be nicer, and you're going to look terrible on television." I was like, don't engage with him and don't go over the top, because he's going to be very sincere and nice no matter what you say, and you're just going to look bad. Go in there, make your points, and I'll make sure he's not going to speak over you. It's like you're going to, it'll work, trust me. But if you try to go too far, you're going to look terrible. And she got on there, and I mean, within 2 minutes, was just going nuclear, saying all this out. And Senator Moon was like, "Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'll be praying for that person that she's bringing up." And it was just like, I was like, I knew this was going to happen. And so it's over. And of course, he had to go off right away. And she looked at me and she goes, "It happened." I go, "Oh, it totally, yes."
It totally happened.
Don't blame him. You did not. So I know you guys got to go. Thank you so much for
Yay,
your time.
thank
I
you.
appreciate
Appreciate it.
Jody,
Yeah,
thank
good
you
to see
so
you,
much.
Scott.
We'll be back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Chuck Hatfield. Then join us Sunday, This Week in Missouri Politics. I guess the former Attorney General, the new Deputy Director of the FBI. I don't really talk to cops, so this was before he became an official cop. Andrew Baylor joined us Sunday for This Week in Missouri Politics.